This is Let's Talk Business with your hosts, Mark Ebinger and Heather Bain. Now, here's Mark.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business, a show that talks entrepreneurship with some of the best businesses in the San Antonio area. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk with Ted Henderson, a risk advisor and commercial insurance expert with Insource Insurance Agency. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Are you a Top Gun fan?
I am, definitely.
Who's your favorite character?
Let's be real.
Is it
Who
Maverick?
do we think his favorite character is?
Rooster?
Rooster?
The one with the mustache?
Yeah, the one with the
Definitely him. Miles Teller? Yeah.
Well, I tell you, he was really great in that movie. I
was.
thought he did a great job.
I never saw
can't
the
even
new
imagine the guy who played not really the bad guy, but the really cocky guy in there. I can't remember his name.
Iceman?
No,
It's from the first one.
That's from the first.
Can't remember either.
Oh, the second one?
Yeah, the second one. But anyway, he actually applied for that role. He tried to get it, but he wasn't picked for it. They did a good job picking Miles Teller.
They really
for that
did.
role. Yeah, they did. Anyway, I don't know why that just came to mind. I just thought about
It
it.
was probably the mustache.
It was probably.
Speaking on that, though, I've gotten many comparisons. Top Gun, Ted Lasso. But my favorite one, hands down, I've only gotten it once, is Chick Hicks, the green car from Cars. With the grill mustache.
Oh, I don't know what you're
Not
talking
ringing
about.
a bell.
No, I'll have to look it up, though.
gosh. I
You'll
know
see it and
exactly.
you'll think it's perfect. It's
That
the
is
best
funny.
comparison I've gotten, hands down.
All right.
Nice.
We're also going to talk with Alexander McGraw, a tax optimization expert with Better Benefits for Texas. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. In studio with us today is Heather Bain, a certified business coach that works with business owners to gain clarity in business and achieve their goals. Heather, welcome back to the show.
Always happy to be here.
And I'm your host, Mark Ebinger, the owner of Krukus Marketing Agency, a company that specializes in giving small businesses a competitive edge by hiring administrative and social media experts from the Philippines. A quick reminder for our listeners, you can catch video and podcast versions of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. We've got blogs, we've got podcasts, we've got social media content, we've got everything up there. So if you're a fan, go check it out. If you're not a fan, well, become a fan. We'll just work on that. And if you're a business owner in the San Antonio area and would like to have your company featured on this show, visit our website at satalkradio.com or call our office at 210-960-8210. That's 210-960-8210. And we're over right around that 100,000 views a month mark on social media. So,
Cool, wow.
And I mean, I meet regularly with the team trying to get them to promote, and be creative in the way that we promote everything. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
What's great is we've started having a lot more guests too. We're booked out until what, October now?
Yeah.
Man, you're
It
busy.
is
October.
Yeah.
I finally got the little blue check mark for Instagram.
Oh,
Very nice.
So now
Congratulations.
I'm all official. I don't know what that means, but I guess that
It means you're
something.
verified now.
I'm
Yeah.
verified, yes. It's like TSA verified, right? Where you can skip the line.
Yeah,
and go,
skip the line.
I'm one of the special
You're
people.
little- yeah, you're-
$85, 5 years, verified, done.
Yeah, there you go.
So speaking of social media, have you guys seen this, the lady on TikTok, the whole Wingstop girl? Have you guys seen the clips on that?
Yeah.
No, I think the fact that-
10 hours and I just want Wingstop.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Man, it's
That's a new definition of hangry.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I think
Well, I felt her like in that energy when I watched that. I was like, I've been there. I mean, nobody filmed me, but I've definitely been that hangry and like, just get me to food.
I like that they captioned it because I was like, she called the one girl a squid. I'm not quite sure. Does anybody know what that means?
Couldn't tell you.
You guys would
Oh
probably
yeah.
know better than
No.
us.
Yeah.
Squid.
I'm not as in tune as I should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
got
hope
lots
it's
of
not
With the
dirty.
lingo, the Gen Z lingo.
Right? I hope it's not dirty, right?
Maybe it's
I
just
hope-
a
They
nickname.
Bad
made a
word.
song about it. They made a song
Yeah.
about it. Yeah. I don't know. Is that what we're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's-
that's what we're
just
talking
that
about.
one. Okay.
Yeah, she's on that rhythm. You know, I worked 10. There's a beat to it, right?
Yeah.
She's like putting her order in. I was just singing.
And then
Yeah.
everybody's just playing music. But I mean, it's gone so viral. I'm sure at this point, Wingstop will start paying. I don't know. Will they start paying her or something? But
Yeah,
there's the
free
opportunity
press.
for it. Free
Yeah.
press.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
such
free
thing as
press.
bad publicity.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so Alex, you got some big deals that are coming down too. Before we kind of get into all our discussion, what's happening?
Yeah. So got 2 deals closing down with some businesses. One actually was referred to me, and then we ended up actually meeting up and talking. And it's actually Larry with Gleam Team. I don't know if he's
Nice.
been on the show yet.
Oh, we know
but,
Larry.
Yeah, Larry's
Larry.
super cool.
Busy guy.
and- Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He was. I got introduced to him through through like a networking event, and so we actually connected. It was super like just really organic. So we hit it off very well. And then also another one, I stopped by a couple of businesses. That one is Comcorco, and that one is they actually do like the floor laminate, so like for commercial. So I think Larry has about 20 employees that I'm working with, and then Comcorco has 12, but they all speak Spanish. They're all from Puerto Rico. So yeah, it's a little bit. I know a little bit of Spanish. That's entiendo un poco de español. So I mean, I can
Sounds
try.
pretty suave.
Hey, I'm from here.
Anybody listening needs to go on the video and watch him like roll with that little.
Yeah. So, but both I'm super excited about. Only because my biggest thing is if I can be able to help them, help their employees happy. It's all win-win-win. So for everybody.
So I think that speaks to the power of networking. Ted, so you network a lot. I know you're out there almost constantly meeting with people and meeting with groups of people. So how's that going for you?
It's going good. It's going really good. It's definitely not my only like prior or focus when it comes to prospecting and bringing in new business, but it's definitely an amazing avenue. And I've had some good relationships come out of networking. Like Alex and I met at a networking event. We've been able to pass a little bit of business back and forth, actually.
Nice.
And something that I've been practicing recently that I think both of y'all have put me on is just putting two people in a group chat together and introducing them. I mean, that has done wonders. You put two people in a group chat, introduce each other, and then you send both of their contacts in there separately so they can go in and save it. And then at that point, they're talking on their own. You've introduced them. Instead of taking it to email or anything, it's just very straightforward.
I feel like email is where introductions kind of go to die at this point. It's like, I'm going to CC you, and then it just gets lost in the shuffle.
It gets buried. Yeah.
In a group text, it's just more. It becomes more organic, more like personal. So that's what I like to do. Is like, hey, put me in that little circle right there, because then it's immediate, and then it's like, then you see it, and everybody sees it. So it becomes just more connected in general, and so. For me, I love that because it just ends up having that more, I guess, like personal connection in my eyes.
Yeah, so one of the projects I'm working on is when my team connects with people, we track everything, but I'm creating videos, right? And then I start with a blank sheet of paper up front like this, and it's got your name on it, like, hey, Ted, right? But it's blank. The special effects crew comes up afterwards and puts a different name on it, but that's the thumbnail you see. And then when I send these out through LinkedIn messaging, Instagram messaging, Facebook messaging, all that, we make connections, right? We don't spam them, but we send them over as appropriate. But then it's like we start a conversation, and I already got a hit on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we just started it, and it's like, oh, I'm interested. So it just starts that conversation for the team, but it feels very personal. So it's just another way of getting that message out there in a way that nobody else is, very few people are doing it. So being creative on that side is super important in business.
I think it's important too, because the bigger your business gets, and I know I experienced this in real estate, I would work with like insurance agents and people that I'd never met in person. I didn't know what their faces looked like. I just got introduced because they had built a reputation, right? They were the person to work with. I got referred to them by more experienced agents. And so I was just like, cool, I need somebody. And everything was via email. And it just adds that extra layer if, as your business grows, you've got that way to get in front of them, even if you can't physically be in front of them. Because I'm sure as your business grows, I mean, it's going to be harder to run across town and sit down and have an hour-long coffee with every single client that you work with. I mean, as the business grows, so does your time commitment, unless you've leveraged it out to a team of VAs like Mark offers.
Yeah, that's how I get stuff. I had a meeting this morning. I had 21 of us on the meeting. And that's just, I started with one back in August, right?
Oh, wow.
And I had two that were actually not there because they come to the 4 p.m. meeting because they work a little bit later shift. But yeah, it's all about, and we're going to talk about that later today, but it's all about leverage, man. And when you can plan it and you can execute on it, it's amazing. All right, so first up on the show is going to be Ted Henderson, a risk advisor and commercial insurance expert with Insource Insurance Agency. So Ted, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here.
Thank you guys for having me. Been very excited for this.
Awesome. So how did you get involved with the insurance business? What did it fall into your lap? Were you drawing pictures as a kid? This is what the direction you wanted to go, or what?
So I think that I'll resonate with the whole industry in saying that no one really plans on getting into insurance. No one really wakes up one day and says, and then they say, I want to be an insurance agent, or I want to be an adjuster or an underwriter.
Yeah.
The joke in the business is that you end up in it on accident. And as of right now, I have not met anyone who can top my story as to how I got in the business.
All right, so tell your
us the
story
story,
then.
yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
A little cocky, right?
yeah,
It's a little like Rooster. I don't know. What's the deal?
It's the mustache.
That's just how it is. I mean, plain and simple. Haven't had someone tell me a more accidental story. So I was going to UTSA. I graduated peak of the pandemic, August 2020. Lived in a house with some buddies. Went to go look at a 3-bedroom with those buddies. Actually was about to get into a 1-bed. I was set to go work for an AC company here in San Antonio to learn the business, to go work for my dad in Corpus, working with his AC company. Decided I wanted to stay in San Antonio, work for a bigger company, learn how a bigger player does it in a market like San Antonio. And I ended up going and moving into this 3-bedroom apartment with some buddies. And I set up a renter's policy with a farmer's agent, and took care of me in probably about 20 minutes over the phone, got my policy issued. And at the end of it, he asked me if I had any questions. I told him, yeah, actually, what's your job? I want to apply for it. I like what you're doing. I think I'd do good at it. He said he was an agency owner for an agency that was downtown, and that he could use some staff. Or I actually asked him, are you hiring? And he said, yes, I could use some staff. And that was a Tuesday. I interviewed Friday, and I started Monday. The rest is history. And then that first week working there at that agency, I realized that this is what I want to do. I'd love to be on the agency side of things, have it be personal or commercial. Managing a book of business seemed very appealing.
So what is it that you love about it that much? What really kind of fires you up there?
So on the day-to-day aspect, it's the people. You're just helping people out. You're talking to people. You're reassuring them that they are taken care of, whether it be coverage or, billing, whatever it may be, service. Every day you're constantly just working with people. And realistically, with whatever you're doing, it's all people at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, we're talking about a contractual agreement between a policyholder and a carrier. In the midst of all that, if you can bring joy to a person's day, and if you can make it as pleasant and as seamless as possible to them, then that's where I get my value from. That's where I get my joy from doing it. Is just talking to people, making sure that they're taken care of. Now, on the long-term aspect of it, the idea of recurring revenue, that's what hooked me. That's what made me realize the first week, this is what I want to do. I want to have a book of business, and I want to have a good client base, and I want to take good care of them for as long as I'm doing this, which, as it looks right now, will be a good long while. I don't see myself doing anything else.
Now, especially the commercial insurance world, one thing that you don't hear synonymous with that industry is joy.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially right now. So, what's an example of you having a great experience with a client in the commercial insurance world?
Sure. So, trying to think of like one specific moment, maybe a little tough, but just day to day, like talking to a client about their billing process or their renewal coming up, just asking them how their day was, asking them, about their kids, keeping tabs on who they are and who their family is, and, what they like to do in their personal life. It basically adding that much more of a personal touch to it, to where, I have a good relationship with those people. And so
you're making that connection. It's a connection.
Exactly,
base.
right. Just like knowing, like your kids are doing this and that, like, how's that going, and stuff like that. Oh, how was your birthday, a couple weeks ago? Stuff like that. Really, ultimately asking them how their day was, what they did last weekend, stuff like that. Just making it as pleasant as possible to people.
That's a customer service oriented heart that you have. And when you couple that with sales, you can be successful in just about anything, because people are hungry for that nowadays. It's like they want to talk to people and do business with people that care about them, or at least show a genuine interest, not a feigned interest, but a genuine interest.
Well, that reminds me of that line of nobody cares what you have to say until they know how much you care. So like being able to have that caring human element to it that's very powerful.
Definitely.
And especially with recurring, a book of business just becomes that book of relationships. I mean, obviously the numbers, the billing is important, but people want to work with people who they know, like, and trust. And if you've got that relationship with them and you're able to provide an excellent service as well, I mean, that's going to last you forever. So how is the insurance industry going right now for you?
For me, it's going pretty well. I've got my book built up a good amount. Things are good. I'm looking to continue building it here in the next few months. The insurance industry as a whole, though, is actually very hard and taking a big hit right now. A lot of carriers on the personal and the commercial side are getting out of certain areas. Farmers just got out of Florida entirely. Farmers and State Farm just got out of California entirely as well.
I heard about that.
We're in what's called a hard market. It's the first real hard market that we've seen in the last 20 years.
Yeah, but
actually.
it's hard for California because California is screwy. You know what I mean? They got bad policies, bad government over there, so they make it difficult for people to do business there.
They've also got
That's not a Texas problem. That's a California problem.
they've also got forest fires too. That's an indicator.
Well, I've
That's like
seen
the
something-
thing.
But that's a policy issue. They don't clean out their underbrush, so they're just asking for it, right? And that's my opinion. I was born in California, so I care about California. Love, beautiful state, but their taxation is crazy, and they don't take care of their forests.
It is a little screwy. You're right. Definitely.
That's my opinion.
Well, if it's a hard market, and I mean, I don't even think that's an if. It is a hard market. So what are things that people should be looking out for? Because it sounds like having that relationship with your insurance adjuster is important. Why is that important?
So
Or not your adjuster, but
your agent,
Yeah,
right?
agent.
Well, it's good to have a good relationship with an agent just so that you're up to date with what's going on and so that you know exactly, what to keep an eye out for, things to take greater precaution towards. But just to give an idea as to what's happening right now, commercial auto and commercial property are heavily hit right now. Commercial property, we're seeing renewals anywhere from 50 to 80 to 100, 120% premium increases year over year.
Wow.
Carriers got hit really, really hard last year, and they're playing catch up. People think insurance is a scam and that these carriers are just rolling in cash. That is not the case. You give a carrier 1 year, in addition to bad decisions by leadership to go into a certain region, to get extremely aggressive towards a certain line of business in a certain industry, that could turn the carrier belly up very easily, surprisingly, actually. But that's the case pretty much. And carriers, there's a fine line that they ride between profitable and not profitable. And so commercial auto and commercial property have really, really hit carriers very hard this last year. It's not like I feel sorry for them or anything. I'm just saying, like, it was their decision to get aggressive in certain areas and do certain things. But yeah, like State Farm, for example, took a $13.6 billion underwriting loss last year. And that's across everything that they're doing. And so commercial property, cost of materials, inflation, cost to rebuild, that's gone through the roof. Labor is hard to find. It's just been very hard. And then also, like, natural catastrophes have been increased a lot recently. We've seen a lot more fires, a lot more, crazy weather patterns. I mean, we just had the hottest day ever recorded a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
we were hotter than 98% of the planet. San Antonio, I think it was the Sahara Desert, and like one other area that I can't remember.
Somewhere in
those
Arizona.
three places were hotter than 98% of the planet.
Well, it was 72 degrees in my house, so I'm good.
Yeah, right.
I'm
That's
not
what matters.
complaining.
Mark got that CPS notification and was like, ignore 72.
The other thing I want to touch on with commercial auto, I'm sure that we've seen the fours, Texas Lawhammer, Thomas J. Henry, to name a few, all advertised everywhere, left and right. All these billboards going up and down 10, 1604. You just see them. I mean, there's a market for it, and they are killing it right now, doing what they're doing. But you ever hear like, oh, have you been hit by a company truck or vehicle? It's because they want to tap into that $1 million combined single limit commercial auto policy. That's where the money is. They're not suing the business itself. They're suing the insurance carrier that covered them. And so commercial auto, you're seeing, really expensive auto insurance where 85% of that premium's coming from the liability limit only, not the comp and collision, the damage to a vehicle. It's the liability is what's most expensive. And so that's why people are paying more than they've ever paid right now on commercial insurance, auto insurance. It's because litigation's through the roof. The social atmosphere right now and for litigation is just crazy high. like for example, we've seen now these things called pop up called third-party litigation funds. These are funds designed to go out and support and fund cases that wouldn't otherwise have the good, serious financial backing and legal backing like some claimants would be able to have. But basically, third-party litigation funds go in to fund a case to win it, to then not only pay out to a claimant or a plaintiff, but to their shareholders, their investors that are funding the litigation. And so you can look at it both ways. It's like, oh, these people that were underrepresented and underfunded now have that representation and that funding. But then on the other hand, you've got these people that are literally just litigation-hungry sharks going after money in the name of cashing into commercial auto limits and liability limits and stuff. It's kind of sadistic. You can look at it both ways.
Sure.
Me, I'm on this side where I think it's a little bit far out there that something like that exists. But
so, like, unfortunately, as an agent, there's no way for you to, like, the world is litigious as it goes, so we can't really control insurance costs. That's just kind of a bigger picture. But does having a dedicated, knowledgeable agent affect the ability to get a payout from your insurance?
By all means, actually. So that's more of on a, not even a litigation side, but like an insured filing a claim on something where they need to be made whole again. It's like they took the loss. They didn't cause the loss. They took one.
Like lightning hit the roof of a commercial building that they own.
Exactly. We've had instances, I've not personally been able to do this, but my colleagues, my mentors that have been in the business 20, 40 years, it's almost like they have an insurance policy sitting on their nightstand, and it's like their bedtime reading. They know these forms and coverages so well. They've had claims denied, and then they've been able to go back to the carrier and say, no, look at Section A, Part B, semicolon here on this policy. From what this language reads, this should be covered. And they've had many claims reversed and covered and paid out because of the knowledge that those agents have. And so I'm getting there, waiting for the right opportunity to be able to do something similar. But
well, and it sounds like you've got the mentorship. So if you're not able to figure it out, you've got that knowledge back so that next time you will know what's going to happen. And that's huge, having that mentorship.
I do have a story similar to something along these lines. I wrote the insurance for a roofer not too long ago, or actually a while ago, probably over a year now. And whenever we provided it for him, first year in business, first time buying insurance, there's an exclusion in the policy for roofers specifically that reads, if you are to not act in a reasonable way in this event, in this circumstance, we will not cover you. And it's talking specifically about if you've got an open roof and rain comes in, you got to tarp that thing up and you got to tie it down as soon as possible. And if you don't, it's denied. It's language that reads in the policy. And setting up this policy for him, we were able to thankfully, allow him to digest that and to tell him very strongly, you need to keep this in mind. If you're doing it, you got an open roof and there's nasty weather rolling around, you got to be able to tarp that thing up and tie it down. And the same exact thing happened where they were working on a roof. They weren't aware of the weather that was rolling in. And then before they knew it, monsoon popped up practically. And so they tarped that thing up, they tied it down. But unfortunately, the homeowner still incurred some damage and stuff in their drywall. Turned out to be like $12,000 in damages. He called me, said he was looking to file a claim. And again, I told him, hey, whenever you get on the phone with this claims representative and then ultimately an adjuster, you need to be very, very clear that you acted in this way. I know you did. You told me you did, but you need to make sure that they understand that because this is a key part of your coverage and that you won't get paid out unless you acted in this way. And the claim was resolved within 30 days and they paid it out. And so that was my moment where I was able to advise them properly. That's why it's good to have an agent on your side.
So it sounds like you can't control the insurance costs, but you can control who helps you get it. And that's important. So if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
I am on LinkedIn. I have my email, my phone number. My email is ted.henderson@relationinsurance.com. My phone number is 210-851-8148. And then also, reach out to me on any platform that you find me on. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Where do you spend the most time?
Physically?
No, I mean like,
Or like online?
let's not make this weird. So, where's your online presence? Where is it the biggest?
Most consistently LinkedIn. You know, I'm on Instagram and Facebook socially. I don't really post a whole lot of stuff there. I've got the quarterly, semi-annually Instagram post, and then the annual to biannual Facebook post to update family and friends from back home.
And if you want to work on your golf swing, he's got a TikTok.
That's right. Yeah, I post. So my TikTok, that's a library for myself. I do not post that for other people. I do get some likes and comments here and there, but that is for me to reference my swing and my progression over the last 2 years since I started golfing. But consistently, from an insurance standpoint, LinkedIn is my main stomping grounds. And I don't post consistently on there. I'm posting every few weeks to every month and a half. I have, as of right now at least, my observation and my whole thing is quality over quantity. And so I'm not really posting every single week, every 2 weeks on the dot. It's just whenever something interesting comes up that I can post on, I will. And I'm going to post something that's going to get a lot of attention and it's going to really hook readers and get their attention that way. And so
that's how it's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ted. I appreciate you coming in, man.
Of course.
All right, next up on the show is Alexander McGraw, a tax optimization expert with better benefits for Texas. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
So how did you get involved in this type of business?
All right. So funny enough, my story is actually very unique for getting to the insurance. No, I'm just kidding. I used to do life and health. I actually owned my own life and health agency, and I did that for about 2 years. Well, I got blackballed through my agency or through the marketing organization, and I just kind of got pushed out. Long story short, it helped. It was actually a really good story in the end, where I'm at now. But started getting into this. Had a fellow agency owner. She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go back into doing business to business. Do you want to come join this?" I said, "Sure. I'll check it out. We'll see." I step into it, and I'm like, "Okay, this is pretty neat." But I needed more education. More like this was super strict on tax stuff and everything like that. And so I started playing around with it, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. I started going out there. Obviously, I'm the type of person that's just, keep hammering until it breaks. I ended up getting my, pretty much trial by fire. So went in. It was really hard, of course, doing it cold, basically business to business, so door to door. And it was like, okay, people were like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about taxes. Are you the IRS?
I was actually going to ask you that. So, Alex, I think I said this to you when we first met. Can you tell us what a tax optimization expert is, but explain it to me like I'm 5?
Okay, cool. So I went on ChatGPT. So I went in and I was like, okay, how do I explain what I do so simply? Because first I started off as cash flow consultant, and that was what I was running with, right? But then that was still confusing. And so I do a lot that is not brought to the surface. This has been around since 1972, what I do. The problem is it doesn't get given to small businesses. Mm-hmm. So what I do, if you were 5 years old, me lower payroll taxes.
5, not 3, Alex. I'm in kindergarten.
Okay. I lower payroll taxes and I increase employee benefits spending at no direct cost for companies. That's what I do.
Okay.
It's very proprietary. It's very unique. There's some people that have the first part of it. Some people do the second part of it. And some people do the third part of it. I do all 3 at one time. That's what I do. And how I got into it, I got invited, checking this out, and then I actually fell in love with it. It's really cool. I get to be able to help business owners, and their employees by not being able to, and also not being able to charge them too, which is super unique on itself. We charge them, but there's no direct cost. So we take out our money from the savings.
Yeah, no out of pocket. So you are closing 2 sales. Can you, in general terms, because we don't want to share personal information or anything, but what are some of the examples of benefits those companies are getting that you're closing on?
Yeah, so through on the basics of it is we actually go in, we implement a my company, the brokerage of that we use is called Safe Harbor, and we end up using a wellness plan. So we actually use insurance write-off to get the company more insurance for their employees. So we end up being able to go in there. We end up giving them basically a free product, and what it does is it allows the actual employee to receive a lower taxes on their check as well. So we fall under Section 125, and what that does is it lowers their actual payroll tax and the employee check, and we end up being able to use that savings to put it back into. We end up being able to get them supplemental accidental, supplemental disability, supplemental cancer plan, hospital indemnity, and also be able to give them something that helps them with the retirement too. So we end up being able to get them like an IUL, something that's going to be able to plan for college, even if their own personal life insurance. And the crazy part is there's no direct cost to the employee or the employer. So it's like almost like I'm making magic out of taxes, and I'm being able to give these businesses something very beautiful that helps them.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Have you guys ever gone to McDonald's and ordered like a cheeseburger, a small Coke, and a small fry, and it's one price? But if you ordered the $3 bundle, it's cheaper, but they're not going to tell you that it's cheaper unless you tell them you want the bundle. It's like the IRS is McDonald's. You can get, like, you're going to pay for all this stuff, but if you just order it this way, you save money, but people don't even know about it.
And I'm the hamburger, like giving out the free hamburgers.
You're the guy at the check who's like, order the
I
bundle.
can see that.
yeah.
I can totally see that.
Order the bundle. It'll help you out with it.
So essentially, again, I love to call myself Robin Hood, just because I'm able to take back from the government and give back to the businesses and their employees.
What's an example of a business, maybe like not specifically, but like a situation where an owner maybe was like, I don't really quite understand what you're talking about, and you're like, well, this is what it is, and then he saved money or she saved money on their business and improved benefits. Give me an example.
Sure, yeah, and it's funny because I used to go in there and I'm used to be like, hey, I'm going to be able to go under section this, and people were confused, right? And I actually, it's funny because thankfully to y'all guys, I ended up being able to get that a little bit more simple, more. I broke it down a little bit more easier, and so for me going in. Right. Again, before I used to go into this tax savings, but now I go in and I'm like, hey, we're going to lower 941 payroll taxes that you pay quarterly and improve your employee benefit spending by about $150 per employee. So, for example, we had one. They had, and this only works for W-2 employees. Yeah. So if you have W-2 employees, that's what we can be able to get the write-off on because they're paying taxes. But to go into that story, they had 20 employees. They're all W-2. We go in. You have to make a certain range of money. So we end up being able to see if you guys qualify or if the employees qualify. We go in. We ended up going in and we got a census. So just like how a health insurance agent works, a 401k rep, they need a census. I need a census. We end up going in, seeing, okay, all right, these employees qualify. These employees don't. And if they end up going into the wellness program, we actually are able to get about $500 lowered on the 941 payroll tax per employee every single year. So they had 12 employees. I think maybe like 8 qualified or something like that. So we're able to save them about $4,000 per year on their payroll taxes.
Nice.
Every single year. Yeah. It's lovely.
Yeah. What could you do with $4,000?
Advertising. That's an extra piece of equipment. You know what I mean? And the upside to that, too, is now not only are you able to retain more employees, but you're also able to attract more employees.
Better benefits.
Because you have better benefits. And so now you have, and just kind of go a little bit more into detail, now you have a employee that's able to have unlimited doctor visits over the phone, unlimited mental health visits over the phone, RX discounts, supplemental disability, supplemental accidental, supplemental cancer plan. And the neat thing is, and also a retirement plan. And so the neat thing is for our supplemental benefits, we end up being able to have it on and off the job. So even if they're at home and something happens and they go disabled, they'll still pay out a disability claim. So that's just like the little nice little things. We'll go more into detail if you book with me. But, hey, again, it's just being able to help your business, your employees, and be able to help you guys grow. And the neat thing is we end up just seeing if you qualify at no direct cost, so which is even better than that.
And real quick, you mentioned something. You said, thanks to you guys, I've made it more simple. What did Mark do for you that helped you with that realization?
Mark, he ended up, he basically broke it down a little bit more structure of like, hey, you know what? How are you getting businesses to come to you? And so I had to really sit down and think about that. That was like a really a big one that he ended up kind of like, it was like a light bulb. I'm like, okay, how am I actually doing that? So that actually, I wrote down and I sat down and I was like, okay, how do I, end up being able to bring more employees or businesses to me? The other thing too was, so I got that down and I'm still strategizing that. But also the other thing too is like, how can you make it more simple? How can you make it more simple what you're doing? Because I think I've sat down with all of y'all, which is funny. And it's like, your guys are looking at me like, I don't know exactly what you do. So I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to make it more simple. And it's funny because I met y'all guys and it was like, I was like, I do cash flow, consulting and, I help them with their cash flow. And it's like, that is not what the sell is that we're trying to be able to push out there. So, and for you, Heather, it was funny because, yeah, we're going to put you on that pedestal for a little bit. All right. You ended up actually helping me break down and going more into depth about it is what is their pain point? What exactly is their pain point? So it's like, are they trying to hire more people? Are they trying to keep more people on board? Are they trying to be able to grow their money? And so like I remember, and I wrote that down and I was like, okay, that's really solid. That's like really solid. So thank you for the coaching. Yeah. there it is, guys. Hey,
that clarity is super important. And it has to come, I think, mostly from an outside source, not in your circle, but outside that, because that way you'll listen and be challenged a bit. But we got to wrap it up on that. We're out of time. Alex, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Sure. I say I have a LinkedIn, so it's under Alex McGraw. And then also if you guys want to text me, that's like the best way, just so you guys let me know who you are. My number is 210-430-9339. Please text me. That's like the best way. And that's how you reach me.
Sweet. Love it. All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder to check out our latest podcast or catch video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us in this show. You guys have a great week. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. Thank you all.